South Dakota Governor Republican Kristi Noem joins us right now. Governor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve.
I know you value peaceful protests. Things were not peaceful Sunday night. You had to activate the National Guard. Tell us what happened.
Well, free speech is a fundamental right, and peaceful protests have their purpose. People protest when they feel like they're not being heard. What happened on Sunday night is that I pre-staged National Guard troops in several different communities in South Dakota so that they would be ready if needed, and it was needed in Sioux Falls on Sunday night. So within minutes of the mayor asking for National Guard troops, they were on the scene and were able to shut down a lot of the violence that was going on. Really what National Guard did is come in and secure an area so more law enforcement could move to where the crowd was at. But it was incredibly important to be there on site and be ready to respond within a couple of minutes.
And we're looking, as you're speaking to me, we're looking at some video surveillance. I understand that the local law enforcement there in South Dakota has released these videos to the public saying, do you know who these people are who are doing the looting? And apparently the phone is ringing off the hook in South Dakota. People go, yeah, I know that person.
Yeah, that's what's wonderful about South Dakota is that this whole situation upset them as well. One of the things I told the mayor that night is I said 99.9% of the people in South Dakota made the right decision tonight. There's a few that didn't, and there will be consequences. And I think that's what's incredibly important is that there has to be consequences for violent actions. It's not acceptable. It's un-American. And that's one of the things that will make sure that if protests do go forward, that they are peaceful in the future and stop them from becoming violent.
You were with us about a month ago talking about the COVID situation in South Dakota, which had some spikes around some of the meat processing plants. It's interesting. You did not close the state, as other states did follow suit. But then you've got, for instance, in New York, you've got the mayor, you got the governor saying, go ahead and go out there and protest. But at the same time, they've kept New York City closed. What do you see going on with that? Because it seems to be an odd situation, doesn't it?
Well, the data and the facts on the ground don't support continuing those actions. Here in South Dakota, we didn't close any businesses. We never issued a shelter in place. We asked people to be personally responsible for taking care of their families and asking the vulnerable people to stay home if they could. And we've continued to see a decline in infection rates. We aren't even close to having people overwhelm our hospital systems. We just did not see what the models predicted. So our people are doing well. I think our economy is doing much better because of the actions that we took. And listen, there's no governor in this country that's trusted their people more than I have. I told them what the situation was, what actions they needed to take, and they responded. And they've done it throughout every single situation that we have. And I think that it can be a model for what other governors can enact in their states as well.
Sure. But Governor Ainsley and Bryan are in New York, where New York City continues to be locked down. They're still, I think, 3 days away from phase one. I'm in New Jersey, which is still on lockdown as well. But the people in authority say it's okay to protest. Go out there and protest, of course, peacefully. But at the same time, they're saying, meantime, you cannot reopen your business.
Yeah, I think that's what's frustrating to the American people. They remember the values, the principles that this country was founded on, and that goes in direct contrast to what they're seeing in their day-to-day lives in those parts of the country. I would just encourage people to really focus on what made this country special. And one of the things I identified yesterday at my press conference is that, boy, focus on your family. I don't care what your family looks like, make it strong. This is the problem that we have in our country. We had 10, 12-year-old kids out throwing rocks at cops. We have siblings who don't know that their brothers and sisters are out looting businesses. We got grandparents whose grandkids are trying to ruin our way of life. Take responsibility for your family. Step up, know where they are, get them home, and make sure you're educating them about what makes America special, because I think that's what we've forgotten, and some of our leaders have forgotten that, frankly, Stephen. That's what's so disheartening.
You make an interesting point. How many of America's parents wake up in the morning and look at the paper and there's one of their children right there who are involved in some sort of a violent protest? Governor Noem, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Steve.